Kaugnay pa rin ang paglilitis laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte, makakausap natin Attorney Michael Henry Yusinco. Isa po siyang Senior Research Fellow sa Ateneo Policy Center. Magandang tanghali po sa inyo, Attorney Yusinco. Salamat po sa oras.
Magandang tanghali sa iyo, Cheryl. Magandang tanghali sa lahat ng mga nanonood at nakikinig sa programa mo ngayon.
Attorney, unahin po natin yung overall assessment ninyo sa ginawang pag-upo ni NBI Regional Director Attorney Jeremy Lotto kahapon. Yung mga mali-maling petsa at docket numbers sa dokumento ng NBI na typo lang daw, napapahina ho ba nito yung kaso ng prosecution?
Alam mo, Cheryl, if this were a criminal trial, malaking factor yon, na yung mga dokumento ay may mga inconsistencies with the testimony of the witness, and of course yung mga gaps and butas dun sa kwento. These are all material if this were a criminal trial. But it is not, no? Impeachment, as we all know, is not a criminal proceedings. So yung mga ganong klaseng mga discrepancy, for a lack of a better term, or gap in the testimony, generally they will not be material kasi yung foundational truth that the threats were made established na, no? So yung katotohanan na may pagtatangka sa buhay ay hindi na ito pinagdududahan. Ito ay nangyari, alam na natin ang lahat at meron na itong naging epekto. So, yung mga pinopoint out na discrepancies or faults in the documents or whatever they are, those are only material if this were a criminal trial, but it is not. Therefore, hindi na siya masyadong nakakaapekto doon sa foundational truth which has already been established.
On the other side, epektibo ba yung strategy po ng depensa na tutukan nga yung mga teknikalidad na ito para buwagin yung credibility ng witness at pahinain po ang kaso ng prosecution?
Again, my answer would be the same. If this were a criminal trial, talagang epektibo yon. In fact, that's the standard approach, no, from the defense side, no? Discredit the witness, devalue his testimony. But this is not a criminal trial, so that's kumbaga misplaced. Ang foundational truth again is already established, no, that the threats were made. Kahit naman yung respondent, hindi naman ito dinidispute na those threats were made. Ini-explain lang. They are just trying to explain why those threats were made, no? But ang katotohanan is meron talaga mga pagtatangka o pagbabantang nangyari. Ang tanong na lang is this a betrayal of public trust? Is this a culpable violation of the Constitution? In other words, is this an impeachable offense?
Attorney Yusinco, mamaya po ipagpapatuloy ng defense panel ang cross-examination kay Attorney Lotok. Pero sa inyo pong pananaw, nabasag na ba ng depensa yung mga pahayag ng NBI?
Well, again, in a criminal trial, yes, I would say, no? Kasi yung mga discrepancies that they pointed out, those are material, explainable, but still material criticisms or faults, no? But in this particular instance na impeachment, yung testimonya ni Attorney Lotok that those threats were made, and in their estimation as investigators, they were serious and real. And also yung evaluation nila of the content and the context, yun ay hindi naman hindi na naki-question yun eh. Those are all established that the threats were real, they were serious, they had an impact on our national security. So yung line of questioning ng respondents might work in a criminal trial context, but in an impeachment, I would like to think na wala itong epekto sa senator judges dapat.
Pero kung naintindihan ng senator judges talaga kung paano dapat ito i-consider, Attorney Yusinko, hindi ho kaya challenge din ho iyon?
That's a problem. Sharon, that's our big problem now kasi everyone in this impeachment trial is doing what a well-respected UP law professor has observed as the judicialization of the process. In other words, lahat ng protagonist dito, yung mga senator judges, yung respondent's lawyer, yung private prosecutors, and even the public prosecutors, they are looking at this as a judicial proceeding, as a legal proceeding. Kaya napaka stricter dun sa technicalities, no, ng rules of evidence, ng rules of court. Even though at the very beginning, they all agreed that the rules of court will be applied liberally. Pero ngayon, yung opposite ang nakikita natin. No? Nababag down sila doon sa technicalities, doon sa very minute details of rules of procedure, rules of evidence. So tama ka, no? Kung nasa tamang isip yung mga senator judges, then they would have or they should have seen that the foundational truth has already been established. At ang next question na is this a betrayal of public trust? Or is this a culpable violation of the Constitution?
Na tumatagal nga po yung paghimay, pagbusisi sa mga teknikalidad na you're saying, Attorney Yusinko, yun lamang ebidensya ng pagpapalabas muli na naging public naman yung pagsasalita, yung mga pahayag ni Vice President Sara Duterte ng pagtatangka sa buhay ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, ni First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos at former Speaker ay malaking ebidensya na or sapat or very strong evidence na para patunayan ang Article 4.
Not only that, Cheryl, no, but also yung part ng testimony ni Attorney Loto where he described yung mga reaction ng AFP, ng PNP at ng national security sector natin when they said na yung mga threats na yon actually could have caused chaos and public disorder, no? And even si Attorney Lotok said, 'di ba, na yung seriousness of the threats could have caused public disorder and chaos, no? So that in itself, I would say, is evidence or clear and convincing evidence that those threats were a betrayal of public trust, right? That those threats were a culpable violation of the Constitution kasi they were made and they could have had very serious repercussions sa ating national security, sa ating public order.
Marami rin at sunod-sunod, Attorney Yusinko, yung questions, clarifications at manifestations ng Senator Judges kahapon. Pero paano nila mapapanatili ang pagiging patas o walang kinikilingan sa kanilang mga pahayag? At paano rin tayo, mga mamamayan, na dapat mag-obserba, panoorin yung ating mga senator judges. Kasi parang hindi lamang yung mga ebidensyang inilalabas or kung paano nagtatagisan ang depensa at prosecution, but also hindi dapat din tayo mawalan ng pagpapahalaga sa mga manifestations ng mga senator judges.
Well, balik tayo dun sa kung ano nga ba yung katungkulan ng mga senator judges, no? By the fact na tinatawag nila yung sarili nila as judges, ang ibig sabihin nito, ang katungkulan nila ay manood, obserbahan yung paglatag ng ebidensya ng bawat panig at evaluate yung mga ebidensya and then make a decision based dun sa kanilang evaluation and analysis, whether conviction or acquittal. That's their duty. Now, ang behavior dapat nila ay parang judge, which means hindi dapat sila nagsasalita. Right? Ang rule of thumb dapat ng mga senator judges, and we should expect this from them, is to shut their mouths, no, and just observe and listen. Listen to the presentation of the evidence, listen to the testimony, unless of course meron silang clarification. Ibig sabihin, meron silang hindi narinig o meron silang hindi naintindihan, right? Pag nagtatanong sila, in a way na naghahanap sila ng ebidensya, that's already a red flag, no? That should be raising the alarms in our heads, no? Kasi what they're doing, no, when they're seeking evidence, what they're actually doing is signaling to the parties na, teka muna, kulang yung ginagawa nyo. And therefore, giving the parties sort of a heads up na ayusin nyo yung presentation nyo kasi kulang. So that is not part of their duty. That is not part of their responsibility. So tayo dapat, when we see them doing that, we should call them out and say na hindi nyo na trabaho yan. Ang trabaho nyo bilang judges ay makinig, mag-evaluate, mag-obserba nung paglalatag ng ebidensya. Hindi nyo trabaho yung maghanap ng ebidensya at sabihin sa mga, o isignal dun sa mga partido na kulang yung ginagawa nila.
So, Attorney Yusinko, doon po sa nakalipas na 4 na araw na paglilitis, nakikitaan nyo ba ng ganito ang mga senator judge? At kung may mga kung may mga napuna kayong ganito, hindi ba dapat napupuna yon ng presiding officer or hand in hand silang dalawa ni Senate President at ma-call yung attention na teka, hindi na pagiging senator judge ang lumalabas, hindi na lamang yan clarifications.
Absolutely, no? So marami ng beses na tayong nakita na instances na senator judges na ginagawa yon, no? Yung pagtatanong sa respondents counsel na impeachable ba yung nangyari, or yung pagtatanong na dininay ba ng respondent yung paggawa ng threat. Those are all kumbaga signals na kulang yung ginagawa ng respondent, hindi ba? And can give the respondent an opportunity now to make adjustments kasi na-signal na sa kanila na mukhang kulang yung kanilang ginagawa, right? Now, tama ka, Cheryl, the presiding officer should be more strict and be more forceful in making sure that the senator judges do not exceed their duty or responsibility, no? Kasi unfair doon sa bawat partido kung merong mga senator judges na in the process of asking questions, nabibigyan nila ng signal yung partido na kulang yung ginagawa nila o tama yung ginagawa nila, which is not correct, no? Which is not part of their duty.
Puntahan ko naman po itong pagpapatawag ng impeachment court kay NBI Director Melvin Matibag sa susunod na Lunes. Gaano kalaki yung magiging partisipasyon po niya, lalo't may ilang mga katanungan at paglilinaw na hindi masagot ng unang 2 witness mula sa NBI?
Well, kung ang pakay ay kastiguhin ang NBI sa ginawa nilang investigasyon, then material yung testimony ni Director Matibag. Pero like I said, yung foundational truth is already established, no? That the threats were made. So I do not know how Director Matibag can provide evidence or testimony to show that the threats were or amounted to a betrayal of public trust and a culpable violation of the Constitution. Obviously, he can give some evidence to that end. Pero hindi ako sigurado if anong weight nun masasabi niya regarding that matter. Kasi right now, ang question na lang is, are the threats a betrayal of public trust? Are they a culpable violation of the Constitution? That's the only question now eh.
Ngayong araw inaabangan ang pagsalang po ni OVP Chief of Staff Zulaika Lopez. Gaano kahalaga naman ito, Attorney Yusinko, yung kanyang testimonya niya para sa aligasyon ng grave threats?
Well, it depends, no? Kung for the respondent, I think ang maaaring magawa ni Attorney Lopez is to to provide some context in the state of mind of the vice president when she made those threats, no? So in a criminal trial again, that can be a mitigating factor, no? But again, in the impeachment context, I fail to see anong pwedeng gawin nun, no? Kasi nga, ang importante is merong threat na nagawa at meron itong epekto sa lipunan natin, sa bansa natin, particularly yung national security. And that, I think, what makes it a betrayal of public trust. So it doesn't matter kung ano yung state of mind ni Vice President when she made those threats. No? Ang importante, at least in the impeachment context, is that those threats could have caused chaos and public disorder. And I think this is what makes it a betrayal of public trust and a culpable violation of the Constitution. So I do not see how Attorney Lopez can, sort of counter that. And on the side of the prosecution, what her testimony can add to that, no? Na maaaring nagkagulo yung bansa natin because of those threats that the vice president made.
So walang masyadong magiging weight. Hindi ganun kahalaga. So
Well, if you look at it from the impeachment trial context, yes, wala masyado eh. Because again, established na that those threats were made. Regardless of ano ba yung state of mind ni Vice President Duterte, right now, hindi na siya masyadong material, no? Kasi ang tinitignan na dapat natin ngayon, as I said, tinitignan na natin ngayon, is this a betrayal of public trust? Right? Kasi hindi naman natin tinitignan kung crime ito o hindi. Right? Kasi nga, hindi naman to criminal trial. So yung testimony niya to mitigate the threats made, that's material in a criminal trial kasi it can lessen penalty or it can lessen culpability, etc.
So,
But right now,
Attorney
diba,
Yusinko,
right now,
sabi nyo nga established na, 'di ba? Established na. So, kung ang kailangan nang sagutin kung ito ay betrayal of public trust. So, may kailangan pa ba? Kasi 11 days ang inilaan po nila dito sa Article 4. Sabi nyo nga established
Yeah,
na. So, hindi na kailangang pahabain pa. Dapat nabubuo na o malinaw na sa mga senator judge kung ano ang kanilang desisyon base doon sa mga naunang nailabas na?
I believe so, no? Siguro kung meron lang just an unsolicited advice sa prosecution, if they still want to present any witnesses, dapat yung testigo na ilalatag nila can give more light or shed more light doon sa aspeto na betrayal of public trust and culpable violation of the Constitution. Wag na silang mag-dwell doon sa paggawa ng threat kasi established na yun eh. Wala nang duda na those threats were made.
Well, it's only day 5 at sabi ko nga po, 11 days ang inilaan na nila dito po sa particular article na ito. So, Hintayin na lang po natin kung ano pa yung mga ilalabas nila or papupuntahin nilang mga testigo. Ngayon po ay ikalawang linggo, hindi pa rin nagpapakita si Vice President Sara Duterte matapos ang meeting niya sa defense lawyers noong nakaraang linggo. Gaano kahalaga na sa paglilitis sa Article 4 ng impeachment na pinakamalakas na kaso ng prosecution ay sumipot si VP Sara sa trial?
For the prosecution, it's not material, no? Kasi again, they can show that the threats were made. They have shown that the threats were made, and I think they can show that this was a betrayal of public trust and a culpable violation of the Constitution, no? Yung presence ni Vice President Duterte is not the issue actually. Yung presence niya sa trial, that shouldn't be an issue anymore. Ang issue, and this goes to her character, no, is when panahon na ng respondent to present evidence. The issue is, will she testify on her behalf? Is she brave enough? Is she courageous enough to face cross-examination directly or face kumbaga face the prosecution directly and answer their cross-examination. No, that is the issue. Kung attendance lang sa trial, sa hearing, that's a non-issue, Cheryl, no? Hindi yan yung mabigat dito. Ang mabigat is pag oras na nila, yung respondent ang maglalatag na ng ebidensya, will she testify on her behalf, no? Like what Chief Justice Corona did. Na hinarap niya yung mga accusation sa kanya. Sinagot niya diretso. Will the Vice President take the same route, no? That is the issue.
Panghuli, Attorney Yusinko, bilang isang abogado at political analyst, masasabi na ba sa puntong ito kung sino sa prosekusyon o sa depensa ang nakakalamang kung Article 4 of impeachment na pag-uusapan?
Alam mo, ganda ng tanong, Cheryl, ano? Before Attorney Loto, hindi ako convinced, no, na the grave threats charge is impeachable. But after hearing Attorney Loto, I think the tide has turned for the prosecution, no, na his testimony, I think, is clear and convincing evidence that the threats that the Vice President made can be considered as a betrayal of public trust and a culpable violation of the Constitution. But of course, that's just my estimation. But kung tatanungin mo ako after Attorney Loto, I think the tide has turned in favor of the prosecution.
Marami pong salamat sa inyong oras, Attorney Michael Henry Yusinko, political analyst.